should not be limited only to sharing the updates. Now the parent's responsibility is not just to come in a parent-teacher meeting and ask or inquire about the progress of the child. They equally have to participate along with teachers, along with the school authorities in creating that conducive environment for the child. So, build quality relationships with school to not only assist students' learning, but also fulfill the larger role as a member of a community. So, thank you. Besides this, there is much more which is there in this 628-page document. It is a real challenge for us to incorporate all those points and make it in a concise way in this. I think how many slides are there? 36 slides or 40 odd slides. So it is not possible. But yes, I welcome you all. Please go through this document which is already there on the website, NCERT website, and many things in detail you can find it in specific sections which are related to distinct disciplines and the cross-cutting themes like vocational education, value education, caring for environment, and all these sections you can find it. And then if you have to if you have to say something, if you have a suggestion, you are most welcome. You can share as a feedback to the school and they can forward it to us. Right? So I thank you all once again for being a patient listener. I think I kept, is it the time limit okay? Or it's early? Huh? So, yeah. So we have, now I welcome you all for the questions.
So now that you've all heard about how the entire thing has been, one thing you might have noticed that not much distinction was made between literacy, numeracy, the language and mathematics education versus the rest of the subjects like arts or values. It was said in the same breath, which means that the curricular, extracurricular, co-curricular are not any more distinguished. Everything has its own place. A place for everything is considered here. So with that aspect, I think you can all ask your questions, your thoughts can be shared here now. So
one thing I would like to mention here is many things which I've spoken here are still in this pre-draft, right? So this is not a final draft. And many consultations are still happening. A lot of feedback is still sought from large sections of society, and many changes are still happening in the draft until we get the final draft of National Curriculum Framework for School Education. Fine?
When we can expect the final draft?
So I must appreciate that the parent is equally inquisitive and curious to get this draft. So this shows that this statement which I mentioned in my presentation here, that parents are the equal co-partners. And so this you have displayed just by asking this question. So very soon, maybe by July or end of June, August, mid-June. Okay, now Gajanan ji is here. So I think many questions Gajanan ji can also answer. Yeah.
So earlier session we had a quick suggestion. So keep your questions short so that a lot more questions can be asked and a lot more discussion.
Yeah, my question is there are three educational boards right now. One is state board, CBSE and ICSE. So where does NCERT have its place in future after NEP is implemented? Thank you.
Janji, if you want to add something to this, you can add. So there is a lot of discussion on the secondary stage design. I think in the session next which we'll be having. We'll be talking about these boards and what all changes will take place, whether the board exams will be there or what should be there at the 9-10 level. Yes, of course, the due respect is given to the CBSE and all the state and the other, like whether it is CBSE or ICSE and other board. But yes, a lot of discussion has been taking place on this, and you will see this in the final draft. Kajana ji, you want to add something to it? Because these are the many high-level administrative questions which I think...
in our country we have 42 boards. So different states there are boards. And we have CBSE, ICSE. Now there is a new board from Ramdev Babaji. You heard about that board? Bharatiya Shiksha Board. So it has a lot of things. Maybe what we are doing in Purna Brahmati we can link or we can associate with what is there. Your question is what role NCRT plays in these boards. NCRT is a separate entity which is working for creating the resource material, and this is an independent entity. This is not linked with any board. So boards are free to use material what they want. Okay. Normally CBSE uses NCRT material. There are 14 state boards, whether it is Uttar Pradesh or Himachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh. So 14 state boards use NCRT material directly. Karnataka translates NCRT material, localizes it 10-15% and uses. So most of the Karnataka state board maths science is what NCRT has done. So like this, every state has their own policy on what they should take from NCRT.
Will this be the same
Yes,
pattern once
yes.
the
It will continue.
Yes, I had a question about electives. Will elective change from this era?
Yeah, so right now you are in CBSE. Very good question. In fact, just a few days back, there was 4 days back, there was one workshop on NCF in NEP, Delhi. So in that workshop, some participants, they very forcefully they said, you are writing NCF for children. How many children are there in your committee? So how many children you have spoken to? So now at least we can say, yes, we have spoken to someone. So very nice. Oh yes, we'll have. Now question is about, specifically we talk about the curricular, co-curricular and extracurricular. These are some words which are used. Curricular is typically the core subject, languages, science, maths, social science. We call that as curricular. So our notion is, if we learn science, maths, we are educated. So that's how our notion is, right? Sachin Tendulkar is not educated. Even though Sachin Tendulkar, his brain knows much more maths than most of the PhDs, right? You know how, at what speed the ball comes. So 140 miles per hour, whatever, and it also swings. And in that fraction of a second, he has to calculate, which he has to take a, do a forward play, backward, this swing, that swing. So he knows so much of mathematics. So that knowing part, and then really lot of rote learning which happens in science and maths. So this distinction is also made in NCF. So the curricular part, co-curricular part, and the extracurricular. So in many schools, unlike in Purna Brahmati, art is not taught to everybody. Okay. Then even bere kale, adu kavita illa. So for them it is only subjects, books, notebooks, and some bit of mass speaking. And that is all education is. So you are very lucky to be in Purna Brahmati, because you can do all these things. Now, whatever you are doing, NCF people also thought it is a very good thing that we should have all this as part of education. So even playing is education, art is education, sculpture is education, knowing about cooking is education. All these are education. So when we say vocation, pre-vocation, art as an aesthetic development, how many people can really enjoy a kavita, a good kavita, or even a nice music? Many people feel music is disturbing them, but actually we need to cultivate the habit to tune ourselves to music. These are special human characteristics. Aesthetics comes from the deep emotions. So all these things are made part of the education as part of the holistic development in NCF. So there is no elective, everything is mandatory for all. And all children should enjoy what you are enjoying.
I would like to know, like, if a student, he or she is in 5th or 8th already, so they're not going through the from 3rd, whatever this draft tells. So how do they adapt to this system?
So typically for us, when we think of a system, now when NEP came, there was question of when will NEP get implemented. So there is no point date which says that from 1st of June 2023, NEP will be implemented. So that date is not there for NEP because there are some administrative changes, there are some academic changes, there are changes in teacher preparation, there are changes in school preparation. So a lot of those changes are there. From NCF perspective, NCF will be manifested in terms of books. Okay, that NCF is a curriculum to syllabus, syllabus to books. And then books to exam system, that assessment, how the board system and all those things, right? So these are multiple steps which are involved. This year, that is from June, the foundational stage up to age 8 is implemented in the central board. So all the Kendriya Vidyalayas and the CBSE schools which run the Balvatika, that is the first 5 years of education, this new curriculum is going to be introduced. Okay. For other classes, there is a plan to create the textbooks in next 6-7 months. So we still don't know whether all classes books will be ready or only say 3rd, 5th, 9th and 11th. So these decisions are pending.
Just to follow on that, like how the state boards are working towards this one, or are they opposing to implement this kind of stuff?
This is, even in last session we had this question. This is administrative topic, and education being a concurrent subject. Concurrent means national and state, both governments have say in this. So at national level, policy is defined. State levels can take those policies, they can fine tune it and create a state policy. Now NCRT will create a curriculum, states will create their own curriculum. So some states, they say that okay, we will not implement anything. We will not implement NCF. It is possible. And the irony, or we'll say we had one discussion once with the minister. So in that discussion, this happened in Bangalore on the IAS. It was about Bengal government and Tamil Nadu. So they were saying we will not implement NEP, we will do education in our own language. Our own, it will be rooted in Bengal, it will be rooted in Tamil Nadu. So the contradiction here is actually NEP says education should be rooted. So if they are doing their own things, actually they are implementing it.
A lot of capacity will take place on the part of teachers also. Many things which we have talked in National Curriculum Framework for Foundation Stage and NCF-SC for teacher empowerment, that will be addressed in NCF-TE also. So that change will
and further, I'm a teacher at Purnapurnati, and just to append what the last answer sir gave, that I don't think in this entire concept there will be a transitional problems. So if somebody is in regular curriculum that what we are used to, if that student changes from this to NEP, I don't think there will be a translational problem. So it will be more easy for them. So if they come from a conventional to NEP, it will be definitely helpful to them rather than being difficult. I would appreciate your comment on that.
So NEP is a policy. Okay. Policy means it will just tell the vision and the direction that we should go in this direction. For example, education should be holistic and education should be more practice based. So education is not about only reading, writing, but it is also about doing. So that is what NEP said. It should be rooted. So these are few broad paradigm shifts what NEP will tell. How to do it, NEP doesn't tell. So lot of what is NEP telling, you are already doing it in Purna Brahma. So there is nothing like NEP school or NEP board. So NEP is a policy which tells do this, and then different boards, they will take those, like in, for example, an administrative decision of PU college, which is again very peculiar in Karnataka. This is not there all over the country. All over country, 11th and 12th is part of school. And you know in CBSE also it is part of the school. But in Karnataka we have a separate board for it. So in Karnataka we have one administrative topic to implement the secondary stage of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So like this there are some administrative topics. Some topics are curricular. Like NCF, what Anjuji mentioned, the subjects, the way we will teach, those will come from the curriculum to syllabus. Syllabus to actual resource materials, teacher training programs, and all of that. Okay, so like what you rightly said, there is not going to be, one stamp like NEP school, not NEP, move from this to this, nothing like that. It is a smooth thing like what you said. It's smooth sailing, you will not even know transformation is happening. Yeah, gradual shift.
Sir, till 12th, student will learn whatever is in NEP. After that, what kid will learn, whether they are continue this only or is there any plan about it? Is there any plan going on that? They are learning curricular, co-curricular, or if one student is interested in music, can he take as a stream music only or a dance, art, anything? Is there any planning is going on?
Before answering your question, one question. All of you have heard about NEP, National Education Policy 2020. You heard, no? Very nice. All of you have heard? Yes. Heard? Yes. Have you seen it? Seen the cover page, NEP? Nodidira? Website and Nodidira? Perfect. So this is available on the Ministry of Education, Government of India. So there are two NEP documents. One is called draft NEP document, which is a big document, 483 pages. It's a very detailed document on education policy recommendations. There is a official policy version, which is a 60 plus pages, 63, 64 pages. So that is a small document, which is for general public to read. So what I suggest is everybody, so all parents are also teachers. Not just because you are coming to school, even at home you are teachers. Correct, no?
They teach us how to read. They taught us how to read, walk.
So you stand with me and you can answer. So he is such a nice support. So I just said every parent is teacher. He told how it is. All of you heard, right? So we teach lot of things to children by words and by our deeds, right? So those parts are one thing. So in NEP, there are a lot of things about education. So if you know what is concept of education, what different things happen, even your behavior at home, how you look at your own children will also change. And you being part of Purna Pramati, you have come here to attend this session. I request all of you to read that policy document. Second question is about NCF. This NCF is also a big document. So normally NCF is written as an abstract philosophical document which used to be 50, 60, 80 pages, written for the educationists, people who will create syllabus and textbook. But this NCF is written for teachers. And who are the teachers? In this room, who are the teachers? Everybody, right? So all of us are teachers. Your children are learning from us by looking at us, right? So all of us must read NCF, which is not very big document, only 680 pages. So 680 pages is for the school education, and there is another 350 pages for foundation stage. So these are small documents which gives a lot of details. But we must spend time. This is an investment because our children, after they grow up, there is nothing can bring back their childhood. Then it is only our grandchildren whom we can train well. So if we want our children to have right upbringing, we need to have this orientation. So to Srinivasi and all the acharyas here, I think it's really nice that you have organized this session, and this is a privilege for parents to have NCF type of session. Normally it will be PTMs in many schools. There will not be NCF type of sessions, right? So coming to your answer, to your question, does policy have something for this vocational or even art, sports and all? Today, Anjuji just shared about the preparatory part. In the middle school, secondary school, there is a transition from domain-specific integral learning to interdisciplinary learning in preparatory, then subject-specific learning in 6 to 8 middle school, and then curricular area-based, choice-based learning in secondary. So there are 8 curricular areas. So children can choose any 3 curricular areas in 11th and 12th. They can choose, for example, arts, but minimum is 3. Compulsory they have to choose 3. So art they can choose, social science they can choose, and languages and humanities. So in 3 curricular areas, they have to take courses, 4 courses in each of the discipline. 11th and 12th is a specialization period. Okay, so they specialize in these areas, so they can do graduation in one of these curricular areas. Now, is NEP linking secondary to graduation? Yes, NEP has school education and higher education. So higher education is also multidisciplinary. So you can choose between the disciplines. So the possibility is there. So children can take maths and music. Today it is not possible. Today's children who go to science, they cannot take music. So we have one great example in our committee, Professor Manjul Bhargav. As you would have heard about him, he is a professor in Princeton University, a Fields Medal in Maths. Fields Medal is like a Nobel Prize. So he is part of the committee. He is expert in mathematics, like a Nobel laureate in mathematics, and he is a great tabla player, a great musician, and great linguist also. Now these skills in the current system we don't get. You heard, right? So he is a great genius in mathematics, and he plays tabla, excellent. Elective what?
Consultations with higher education institutions also while preparing this draft for school education, so that there is an alignment and a natural progression. So,
Shishya Vatsalya and Guru Bhakti in the syllabus. Whether for teacher training or for a student, Shishya Vatsalya and Guru Bhakti we used to see in Gurukula, but now it is missing. Most of the teachers are maybe they have the talent to teach. Many teachers maybe have come for job purpose, for money purpose, or for many might have come for time pass because they are getting bored at home, so they are coming for schools. In that case, they should have, whether they or whatever might be the reason, they should have Vatsalya of the child, how to make him to learn. Whether you have included or not, I don't know. I expect that.
So, there is a specific, whether we are talking about NCF foundational stage or NCF school education, there is a specific section on teacher-student relationship, where we are talking about building that love, care and respect between each other, that bonding between each other, and also taking into account when a teacher should know when a teacher is teaching in a class about all aspects of child development. Now, especially if we talk in this particular draft, we are taking into account the Panchakosha, taking right from the Pranamaya Kosha to the self, and also that Guru-Shishya relationship. Many illustrative examples have been quoted, and still many more will be talked about when we are coming up with National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education. Because this is very, very important, which you have asked as a question. Like, unless that relationship is built, no learning can take place. It is like a ground or the preparation for that effective learning. So, of course, this NCF will be addressing, and to a larger extent, it will be addressing in NCF TE also.
The half part is addressed. The Guru Bhakti part is not addressed. Shishya Vatsalya is very well done. In foundational stage, it is done quite strongly. In other school education also it is there. Guru Bhakti, we will see. We will take this one.
During our school days or during our UG, we used to attend NCC, NSS, Red Cross or something like that. So that because I am an NCC cadet, after completing it, at this age I have come to know that I am an NCC C certificate A grade holder, but I don't know value of it. So how this NEP or NCF is going to inculcate such thoughts in the children, and how it is going to help the nation.
I will give my understanding and what is in NCF. See, there are two aspects. The education is a prakriya. We try to measure everything in outcome. So if we focus on the process, that the process is right, there will be so many things happening within us. Some of it we can measure, lot of it we can't measure. Now what NCC has given you, we need to do a project on you to find out what it has given. Or you can reflect, you can introspect and see. I'm sure you will find out that NCC has given this. So having NCC was a part of process. Okay. So it helped you. So like this in NCF also. As part of process, there are many things given. And as part of outcome, also there are these curricular goals. So initially it is domain-wise, then it goes curricular area-wise. And then it also talks about the interdisciplinary, which is an integrative part. So, ella outcome, for everything, we cannot see the outcome. We don't have the ability to see the outcome. Because internally so many things would have changed. We just don't know. Even by one Bhakti Geet what we sing or Prarthana what we do, we just don't know what changes are happening inside. So we have found some external mechanisms to measure some waves in the brain and all, and we say, okay, we know what happens. But I think, yeah, we cannot fully measure. Yeah, very true. So process and outcome, you have to be. Focus on process, focus on outcome. So in NEP, NCF, you will see outcomes are very well structured.
No, recently when I see so many schools, whatever it is, private or government, I'm not able to see such core activity, core participation or active happening of this NCC or NSS. So how is it going to be addressed? Because that helped me a lot. During those days, I felt like it is suffering. But later when I mature or go somewhere, what has done to me, I totally realize it now. So now that has to be inculcated in the children's lives, and how it is going to be.
So, say NSS, NCC or NSS especially, they were created as projects for inculcating Seva Bhav, or even NCC as a overall physical development, patriotism. So those programs are there, they are still there. They are still there, they are in the college. In teacher education program, what Anjulji mentioned about NCF TE, so there is a 4-year integrated teacher education program. So in the structure of teacher education, there is a compulsory community service for 2 grades. So it's a course on community service which every teacher has to go through. There is a compulsory sports education for teacher which every teacher has to go through. So at different levels, these compulsory courses will come. Even in NCF, you will see physical education is a mandatory, essential subject which every child has to go through. So this mandatory thing is there, and then how to do it is also mentioned. Different schools might do differently. Some may join NSS, some may have their own programs, some may have field project itself, some may have Jnana Setu, lot of things there.
Last point.
About NCC, you said, madam, that there is one thing, but why NCC came up is, after the 1962 war, Union government thought that there would be a need for extending Indian Army at a very quick instance. So that was the major idea behind putting NCC. So, and that is not, when India became independent, Kajapa had a plan to put military education into the system, and Nehru refused it. It is there on the documentary made on him. So that was the idea, that the NCC was to quickly extend the Indian Army and not to the ideas what we are talking about now. But the NCF definitely has the ideas, whatever you said, it is in that. So if you are conversant in Kannada, you can go through that NCC Dinagalu book. There, NCC Dinagalu by G.T. Narayan Rao. There it's a more than 400-page book. It has every detail of those NCC. And in those days, the teachers who were taking care of NCC were given an opportunity to become officer commanding of a unit completely. They were deprived of teaching, and they were made officer commanding of many battalions. Most of them came back, but that was the idea. That was not to inculcate any such thing into the students, but it was an idea to extend the army if there was a need. So other things, NSS and other things are there. So that is there in the NC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the comment. And so you want to ask another question? So Amog has a question, so we can't refuse it.
Yes. Will NCF or NEP will change after the
See, NCF, NEP and NEP is already released. on 29th of July 2020 by Prime Minister Modi. So it is available, it is a published document for our country. NCF is being worked on. So NCF for foundational stage is released on 20th October 2022. So it is already released. Nobody can change it. Now the NCF for school education will be released on 20th of June 2023. That is under the Ministry of Education, Government of India. So that nobody will change. So once it is done, it will be released. So these are national education policy, national curriculum framework. National means Government of India. There is similar thing which will happen for every state. So state will have SCF, State Curriculum Framework. Okay. So that Karnataka has to do. So Karnataka government has to decide along with the Karnataka Education Department. So they will decide. So what happens in Karnataka, we'll see.
You're well aware of political changes in the state. So with that, I think we will wish to end the session. I'm sure a lot of you may have further more questions thanks to Amog and his ideas. So ಅಮೋಘವಾದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದ ಅಮೋಘನಿಗೆ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ. So I think well aware child, and so if you have further any more questions, there are chits left in the ground floor. Please use them to record your questions with